For you guys who have been in ride sharing for a while, do you remember the story about the autonomous Uber vehicle that ran over and killed a woman? Happened in, I believe, Colorado back in 2018. Well, that story has come to a head and it leaves some questions to be asked. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Now, I'm not working today. I make no secret that I am a no pay, no play type of guy. They're not offering any streak bonuses. There's no earnings guarantees. And currently there is very little to no surge happening in my market. So I don't drive when the pay is just not there. I do have a day job, so I'm able to make ends meet whether I'm in ride sharing or not. You know, my heart goes out to some of you folks that do ride sharing as a sole source of income, because I often wonder, how the hell do you get by when they're offering no type of earnings guarantees, streak bonuses, and surge pricing just is not there? How can you survive on base fare? So yours truly, I have a different way, but yeah, my heart goes out to you folks that are trying to make do. Anyhow, in regards to this story, this was Raphaela Vasquez, 44-year-old woman. Now, her job was to be in an Uber autonomous vehicle. So the vehicle, this is when they're trying to have automated vehicles and get rid of all of us. Now, they don't pay us shit anyway, but they're trying to pay us zero and do it on an automated basis. Now, her job was to just sit in the damn vehicle and act as a backup if something went wrong with the automation of the vehicle. Now, obviously a woman, Elaine Herzberg, a 49-year-old woman, was hit, struck, and killed by this car. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, Vasquez, the driver, was actually on her phone goofing around when the car ran over this woman. Now, Uber is saying that the vehicle was not designed to expect people that were not crossing at the crosswalk, which is crazy because in every city, particularly the major urban, major heavily populated urban areas, people cross the street any damn where. If you're only expecting citizens to cross at the crosswalk, you're going to be running over dogs, fucking skateboards and scooters. I mean, you're going to be running over shit all the time. People cross the street anywhere. Jaywalking is very common in the big cities. So this is where the Uber driver would have had to step up, take control of the vehicle. She didn't do it in time and the vehicle ran over somebody. But listen to what the outcome is. I believe Uber worked their magic behind the scenes to protect their reputation. It did save the woman some significant time in prison though. Now, the driver was charged with vehicular homicide. I believe they called it reckless homicide or something like that. But you're distracted on your phone, you run somebody over. It's vehicular homicide. She was facing up to 20 years in prison. Now, she was ultimately allowed to take a plea deal. Guess how much time she got? 3 years supervised probation. Didn't serve a day in jail at all for this. Now, my humble opinion is that Uber has something to do with that, because you don't want your previous drivers in prison for reckless homicide for something that was done under your company name. In addition to that, Uber settled out of court with the family of Herzberg less than 2 weeks after she was ran over. So they clearly jumped up, got in front of the story and tried to silence it, which is why I also believe they actually worked their magic to get this woman to help her avoid serving all this prison time for a reckless homicide charge. Now, in addition to that, Vasquez, the actual driver, is a ex-convict, a felonious ex-convict. I found, depending on the story, she did anywhere from 10 months to 4 years in prison, attempted robbery, falsification of documents. So she was actually a criminal in her own right. And that was a few years before, but many states have laws in the books that you can't have a felon for a driver. And Uber has been criticized over the years for that because they started out hiring a bunch of felons. But felon behind the wheel, on the phone, and somebody gets killed. Now, I want to say this also. For anybody that's working, you know, if you got that type of a job, testing out automated vehicles, that's got to be the most boring fucking job you could ever have. The vehicle is automated, and your job is just to be there in case something goes wrong. So you literally have to stare at the road and be focused, ready for something to go wrong, while doing nothing most of the day. Can you imagine how boring that is? That's like literally watching paint dry. I mean, you're staring at the road. I suppose you can talk to the passengers, but you got to keep paying attention to the road just in case something pops up and you're ready to act. How many hours could you do that shit and remain focused? The chance of somebody looking down at their phone or doing something that counts as distracted driving, you'd have to assume that's pretty damn high. I couldn't imagine sitting in a vehicle for 7-8 hours a day, staring out the window, being ready for something to happen that most likely won't happen. Damn, I can't imagine that. Anyhow, they did get this woman off down to 3 years supervised probation. My opinion is that absolutely is something that Uber has something to do with. The defense attorney for this woman did state that Uber should be held accountable as well for what happened. I don't know what the grounds of that type of a statement is, other than the fact that they put felons behind the wheel, because her own lawyer stated that she should never have gotten this job. So what do you think? You think Uber has something to do with her dropping all the way down to supervised probation from 20 years? Last but not least, even though she completely avoided doing time behind bars, financially she's fucked. They actually had her agree to pay back all parties damaged, including the insurance companies. So all of the money that the family would have received from her death, being ran over by a vehicle, the settlement that Uber made with her family, this 44-year-old woman, Raphaela Vasquez, is responsible for paying all of that back. Obviously, a felon working for Uber, she don't have that money. They essentially sentenced her financially for life because you cannot bankrupt out of these type of debts. So she basically will be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in debt for the rest of her life. She will not be able to get a W-2 job anywhere without them taking out severe garnishments. She could never buy a home without them putting liens on it. It's going to be difficult to get a car or anything because they're going to put that huge settlement on her credit. So she survived jail time, but damn, she really got fucked trying to take a job for Uber. What do you folks think? Could you sit behind the wheel of a car for 7 straight hours anticipating or being prepared for something to go wrong that may never happen? Think you can handle that job? Let your boy know in the comments. As always, subscribe to the channel, click the like button. See you in the next video.